Let's get more from the horse's mouth, right? Well, the DA's national spokesperson, Solly Malatsi, joins us from our Cape Town studio. Solly, I'm so sad you couldn't be outside here in Johannesburg to speak to me about such a very important situation for your party. But do you think you are in trouble right now?
Good evening, Shihan. I didn't hear your prelude to the question, but we're going through a difficult phase. I mean, no organization would have preferred to have a mayor who was performing, resigning mid-term while he's been doing a good job. Be that as it may, we have accepted the decision by Mayor Mashaba to resign. It's his individual right to decide what he wants to do with his future. We can only but pay tribute to the work and the inroads that he was able to make since he took power 3 years ago, leading the DA-led coalition government in terms of restoring the financial stability of Johannesburg, expanding provision and access of basic services in Johannesburg, and quite frankly, leading an administration that makes Johannesburg look, feel and perform better and differently than it was 3 years ago.
And that's why it's so sad that you, a man who you boast about so much, is leaving the party because of policy positions and decisions you made over the weekend.
Well, if you interrogate the outcomes of the weekend meeting, there was resolutions regarding the adoption of the organizational review report, which amongst its recommendation recommended that the party go to an early congress in order to provide the membership of the organization the opportunity to elect leadership for the party. But secondly, and most importantly, to go to a policy conference before that early Congress so that the party can take decisive action about the direction of its policies and what those are. And there was a recommendation in there regarding the party's approach to redress. And that is why when I was listening earlier to the input of different analysts that they were making, and I think it was Ivo who was very precise that the debate that is going on in the DA, the mistake many outsiders make is to reduce it to a simplistic distortion of race, when at the heart of the contest that is taking place is how to best approach redress. And it is not black people or white people who are pro or anti certain policies. It is a multitude of different individuals, cross demographics in the organization, having a very heated and robust discussion about the best approach to redress.
But Solly, this is what your outgoing mayor is saying, and I want to emphasize that you and Musi Maimane have such great things to say about this outgoing mayor that he clearly isn't lying in this statement. He says that he's worried about the election of Helen Zille as the chairperson of the Federal Council because it represents a victory for people in the DA who stand opposed to his belief system. And his belief system, he says, is pro-poor. But these new people who elected Helen Zille are not pro-poor. Now, that, of course, will speak to your policy issue going forward when you go to an early conference.
Well, no individual in the DA has the supreme magical powers of determining policy on their own. It is ultimately the outcome of a consultative process that includes party structures, the federal executive, and ultimately federal Congress, which is the highest decision-making body in the organization.
And Herman Mashaba is saying that those people who elected Helen Zille are not pro-poor.
The Federal Council adopted a recommendation that there be a policy conference where it would be the platform for different individuals in the organization to ultimately come to a joint position regarding various policies that the organization takes, be it on redress, be it on economic growth, be it on tackling crime in the country. So that would be the platform that would shape the future direction of the party's policy. It is not about individuals, and this is often the mistake that many outside the party make. Policy is not the singular right or discretion of one individual in the party, and it would be premature to predetermine what the policy conference would decide in shaping the policy of the organization.
I get that, Solly, but let's look at it this way. The man whose face you put on posters when you go to elections, the man you want people to vote for, basically stood here in Johannesburg today backing the outgoing mayor, saying that he's done so well and, you know, he wishes him well. This is in contradiction to what we saw yesterday with Mmusi Maimane and Helen Zille trying to act like it's all kumbaya when we know that they don't really like each other. Now, the man leading your party is backing a man who said all these things. What does that say about the DA?
Well, the key point in here is that it is indisputable that during Herman Mashaba's tenure as the mayor of Johannesburg and looking into the performance of that city over the last 3 years, evidenced in the form of the household surveys that the city of Johannesburg has done, and on every metric of governance and measuring service delivery in the city of Johannesburg, Johannesburg did and is indeed performing better than it did 3 years ago. That is not an opinion, that is a fact based on the measurement.
What you're saying about the policy issues and concerns he has, especially with race in the party. But sorry, I have to leave it right there. I'm so sorry that I couldn't prolong this interview. Thank you so much for your time. That is Solly Malatsi from the Democratic Alliance speaking to us from Cape Town. I think the point I'm trying to make is that Mmusi Maimane stood there right next to the outgoing mayor of Johannesburg, Herman Mashaba, even after he said that he has concerns about race issues and policy issues in the Democratic Alliance. He did not say that that wasn't true.